Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hey, Are You Still There podcast. This is Mike.
And Beth.
And we are back for episode 13.
Oh, wow.
Which is 12 more than you thought we would do.
Or lucky 13. We've already exceeded expectations because if you wanted to do like a big 12, I feel like we've already hit our goal, so we can stop now.
All right. That's fine.
Will our loyal listeners be sad?
Probably. And, there is no end date on this.
It's indefinite.
It is, but it's going to be consistent. It's going to get put out every week until we stop.
Yeah.
And when it stops, it probably won't come back.
But when we're this big, though, don't you hear those podcasters? I listen to all these podcasters, and they'll be like, oh, I'm taking a break for 2 months to do whatever, or I'm doing a vacation. These people are much bigger than us. But I'm just saying.
You think Joe Rogan takes a vacation?
I don't know because I don't listen to him. I know everybody says you look like him, but, everywhere we go, everybody's like, do you know who you look like? Mike's like, yes, I know. Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he takes a break. But there's podcasts out there where I feel like they stop more than they start. There's some
that's
that
true.
I try to listen to and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. It'll go on for 2 or 3 episodes. Then there's not another episode for 2 months. And then they pop up and they're like, we're coming back soon. And they don't.
But don't you think it's also because a lot of these podcasts do a lot of editing and fancy stuff? I look at people who are more, I guess, quote, professional than we are, and they seem to they'll have pictures of them up and they've got the headphones on and they're in this little recording closet and they've got these fancy microphones and then they edit and they have all these things. They have advertisements
and maybe because of the life that you and I lead and live, in that we're both professionals, we speak in front of people all the time.
Yeah.
We put ourselves out there. We have forever. That there's nothing intimidating to me about doing a podcast. But I'm on these podcast Reddit forums, and I know you're brand new to Reddit, Beth. And
yes,
you've just discovered it.
Yes, and I've used it before in the past, but I finally registered now and have a real account as opposed to just Googling something and it's sending me to Reddit. Yeah.
You're intentional about your Reddit.
Yes. Now I downloaded the app and I will actually go to Reddit initially for something instead of Googling and being sent to Reddit.
And I've been telling you for years, Reddit is the information superhighway of the internet.
It is, but you also have to be careful because it's a lot of opinions. I mean, of course, like many things, but I do that there's so many things about books I might want to read if I want to dig into what people think something meant, or traveling for restaurant recommendations. And I know you can use TripAdvisor, but sometimes I never know. It can be hard with some of those because some of the stars you read and it's 5 stars, 1 star, 5. It's all over the place when you do TripAdvisor.
Well, and I didn't mean to get off on this Reddit tangent, but to me, you have to be a little bit more proactive in writing out your opinion.
Yeah.
It's not Facebook where you're just going to pull it up and scroll through and do a drive-by comment.
Right.
That's not the way Reddit is set up. You've got to go to a forum, read some stuff, and then make a comment. Do you even know how to make a comment yet?
Well, yeah, I've seen where you can, but I haven't. And I would also be afraid to post anything because on some of these things, people get mad. I was researching some places to eat, and I was looking at all the old posts, which I do understand why they get frustrated because you probably should do that first. But people are like, I'm going to New York City. Just tell me where to eat. And people are like, did you do any independent research? And what do you mean? Do you want a $5 meal or a $300 meal? So people are like, did you do anything? And they get very aggressive. That would make
I'm not sure that's mean as much as just common sense. I get that. I probably wrote those.
But we know that I didn't, given that I've never written a comment.
Yeah. Well, I want to write some comments because I'm on these podcasting page forums, and people will write stuff like, I'm getting ready to start my first podcast. I'm so nervous. What if nobody listens? Or they'll ask questions do I need to record a few first and have them in the bank ready to go? And I'm like, just freaking do it.
But that's part of our personality.
I know that's what I was saying.
Yeah, we just do things.
And I have commented on those. I'm like, just do it. Nobody's probably going to listen to you anyway. Just put it out there. It doesn't matter. But man, the people that just paralyze themselves overthink about this. And so if you've learned anything from the first 13 episodes, we don't overthink about anything.
Nope, nor do we edit.
We don't. And I'm not super happy with the sound. I'll say that. Yeah. I'm always tinkering. I'm trying to find just the right setting on the microphone. I'm still trying to find that perfect app and software, and I think I'm getting it dialed in. So I realize, I've had some people say, I heard some background noise. I'm like, I know. I'm trying to fix it. Or I had other people say, hey, it seemed a little quiet this week. I know. I'm trying to fix it. It's like it's a work in progress.
Meanwhile, I'm dreaming, probably not doing anything to make this happen, but of the day when just the right person decides that, we're influencers. Influencing what, I'm not sure. And they want us to advertise and they sponsor us. Wouldn't
I'm trying to figure out a way to start monetizing in some way our ever-growing Amish listening population.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
So who knows? But, when I can look at the stats and I can see what countries are listening to us. And every week there's one or two more countries. This past week was Pakistan and Indonesia or something. Things like that. But
then I wonder, do they have some kind of crazy VPN and it's really, somebody 2 doors down the street from us and they make it look like they're there, or are these people really there? Because they never message us and say, I am your listener from Pakistan. I am a real person in Pakistan, not 2 doors down in Kernersville. I really want to know these things.
Will you do that in your Pakistani accent?
I don't know how to do that. I don't speak the language, but I'm just saying, please tell these folks, anybody that's listening, oh my gosh, if you are really from one of these countries, I would like to have that confirmed that you really are, because it just blows my mind, and I don't know that I can believe that anybody. What was the other country besides Pakistan?
Indonesia or something.
Are they, I don't know. Maybe they are, which is fascinating. But, how would you even find us? And then I always wonder, too, when you tell me about some of these countries, so many things. I do think a lot of things we talk about probably transcend different cultures and things. But then there's also a lot of things that culturally we may talk about that people would be like, I don't even know why they're thinking about that, or even if you think about in the United States, the weather, if we talk about how we have literally been shut-ins for with no school. Josh has gone to school now 2 days last week, and then he's gone late for 2 days because we had a snowstorm last weekend.
Yeah, Josh has gone to school 4 out of the first 16 days of this year.
But my friends who are in Ohio or North Dakota and stuff, they're probably what in the world are you talking about? Anyway, I just say that to say, I don't know. I think it's fascinating. That's why I'm fascinated with the people from other countries, because I would just be interested in that.
I'm fascinated with our own country, because not only can I see other countries, I can see the percentage that comes from different cities. Our top producing city is the hometown that we're in right now. That's not a surprise to me.
Yeah.
The second city on that list is a neighboring town, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But the third city in this entire country that ranks number 3 is Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Which we visited one time.
20 years ago.
Yeah, but maybe we really made an impression.
I remember I liked Lancaster.
I did too. It was cool.
It was cool to experience. Not everybody up there is Amish. You kind of get their reputation, but
because I have a friend that used to live there that now lives here, and I would have thought it was her spreading the word about things, but she lives here now.
Yeah, but it's for being Lancaster, and obviously if you're the number 3 listening area, that's pretty. It's a higher percentage than it should be. It's not a random bot or an accidental play from Pakistan. There's enough there that people are listening.
And they should probably weigh in on whether they want us to say Lancaster or Lancaster.
Oh, it's Lancaster. I had a secretary from Lancaster, and she corrected me all the time. And I'm like, you going back to Lancaster? She's like, it's not Lancaster, it's Lancaster. Lancaster.
I don't know. I can't even say it with my southern accent.
They say it with one syllable.
I can't do it. I can't. It's impossible. It's like that rolling your R's. I can't do that either. So there's just some things that with my southern drawl I can try, and that's that's what's hard for me with languages, but we won't go there. But that's a very difficult thing for me with languages. I can't do it.
Yeah, so you just never know about your reach. So we had a interesting morning. We had a big morning with our youngest son.
Yes, braces off. So now all of our children have had braces, some of them twice. Our daughter, we said, was like Sue Heck on The Middle, if you've never watched that show. Sue Heck is the middle daughter, and she had braces for 5 years. That was Maria. Maria was one that, thank goodness, was able to avoid having to have surgery.
Yeah, they thought she was going to have to have surgery. Her grill was so jacked up.
She really had some issues. And so our youngest just completed them and looks really different. Well, what I can see from the hair that hangs in the eyes and almost obscures the mouth, from what I can tell, though.
He's got a lot of hair.
Yeah, the teeth are looking good under there. So, hopefully we're finished. This is I don't know how many cars we have probably purchased that are our kids are walking around, it's their teeth, when everybody's like, Beth, Mike, why do y'all driving these used cars?
It's because Dr. Bartlett's driving a new car.
Yeah, our orthodontist is driving the cars that we could have had because of our 3 children's teeth. Yeah, but that was exciting.
And you never had to experience braces.
No, and so 4 people out of 5 in our household have had braces, and I have not. And so even today,
your teeth are perfect.
Oh,
they are absolutely perfect.
Oh,
and
you
do. Yeah, I mean, you got that smile and the perfect teeth, and they're white and they're straight and.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I only have one tooth on the bottom that might overlap just a little, but I was blessed. I mean, and I have terrible eyesight. Terrible. So my eyesight is not good. But
teeth hygiene. You have terrible teeth hygiene.
No, I do not. Do not start that. Okay, I'm not going to argue about this because...
How many cavities have you had?
I'm not talking about that because here's the thing. I talked to my dentist about it, and they even think that scientifically, a parent, when you're a baby, if they... put a spoon or the baby drinks after the parent, you transfer certain things in your saliva that make you more prone
Who thinks that?
The dentist, scientists, people who study this.
Because your mom gave you a spoonful of molasses.
No, that is not. I'm just saying, I think I was predisposed to have more cavities because I probably brush and floss and do things much more. I've had the electric toothbrushes that are supposed to do everything the right way. I've used special toothpaste. So, yeah, I've got the good tooth layout, in my mouth. But, yeah, I've had cavities. But it is not my fault. Now, part of it, when I was young, I did chew a lot of Big Red chewing gum. That might have done it. I loved some Big Red. I was pretty much addicted, and I would hide packs of it under couch cushions and stuff because I would just chew it, and as soon as the sweet cinnamon flavor was gone, I'd spit it out and get another one. And I did that one time we were going on a mission trip with the youth. I don't know if you remember this. With fireballs, and people know I love fireballs at work, so when some coworkers have given me a big jug and stuff before, but we stopped and I got some. This is why I can't even have them in the house. I can't have Big Red. I haven't had Big Red in years because I cannot stop myself. And then I should be a commercial for Big Red. But if Big Red, if you would like me to do a sponsorship, to sponsor me or something, you can. But with the fireballs, I don't know.
And with your red hair, that was your nickname in high school.
Oh, yeah,
Big
Fireball.
Red?
No. I thought you were saying fireballs.
Big
okay,
Red.
Can we go back to anyway, I don't remember what youth trip we were going on. It was one of our mini mission trips or trips we were taking the youth on, but we were in the van for, I feel 5 hours. I think it might have been Tennessee or something. We were going to do a work camp. I bought one of those plastic bags full, and these aren't the big fat ones, but the small fireballs. And I would eat them, and I would, when all the hot had come off and it was just the sweet part of the fireball, I spit it out and put another one in. By the time we got there, I had blisters in my mouth. But it's I can't stop myself. So I just know this about me. So we just cannot have them in the house. No fireballs, no Big Red. But where were we going with this?
I was sitting there, I was like, how do we even get on this discussion?
I was saying that could have been early childhood. But I don't do gum and candy with sugar now. And
well, you got a bunch of cavities.
Okay.
Tell our listeners how many cavities I've had. I am 50 years old. 50 and a half almost. How many cavities have I had?
Every time Mike goes, he like brags about how he's in this exclusive club, like that only, I don't know, 0.001% of Americans are in or something. He's never had a cavity.
No.
I think due to something genetic in addition to the saliva that was transferred to you. Okay, I'm not arguing about this. This was not, to my knowledge, something that we were going to talk about. It is very upsetting to me because you don't believe me when I talk about science and what would have caused the cavities in my mouth. And so I'm not talking about it. We need to transition. Next topic. Congratulations on your cavity-free mouth.
Yeah, and our son now has a good-looking grill.
Yeah, he does have nice teeth.
But he's had a lot of cavities, just like his mom.
Okay, I probably did something wrong there when I was feeding him.
Or did you give him a spoonful?
I don't know, but no, never mind. I'm not doing this. I will try to find the science, or I'll go to my dentist and I will ask her so that we can prove this to you.
I bet if you look it up on Reddit, there's probably a forum.
Oh, I'm sure. And there are probably a lot of people like you that are like trying to shame those of us that it is beyond our control if we've had a cavity in our life.
You can join the cavity forum and I'll be in the no cavity forum. And we'll just talk junk about y'all.
Yes, exactly.
How nasty y'all's teeth are.
I could see you doing that. Yes.
When I just antagonize.
I know.
Stir the pot.
Yes. Okay. Let's move on.
I went to the doctor today too.
Time out. Are you going to make that a poll question, like cavity or no cavity, or glasses or no glasses, or would you rather have bad teeth or bad eyes? You know.
Gosh, there's a lot there. Let me think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, let me think. Those are some good ones, Beth.
Yeah,
that's good. I went to while you were on your way to get Josh's braces off, I just happened to have my annual eye checkup. Mm-hmm. And I have a wonderful eye doctor who I love very much. And first time I ever went to the eye doctor was about 10 years ago. And I went in because I was having a little bit of a hard time reading. Mm-hmm. Stuff was starting to get a little blurry. And she broke it to me then that I have a condition that she calls old man eyes. That I've reached that peak of my eyes will never get better, and now I'm on that downward slope of continual deterioration of sight. And so I had to go in today for my
which for some people
checkup.
Like me, I've been on that downward slope since 4th grade. It's pretty depressing, but
I wonder what your mom gave you.
Okay, this has nothing to do. My mom has great vision. I mean, I don't. Okay, just keep going. Go on with your story. Stop, please.
So anyway, I had to. My eyesight's gotten a little worse again. So she asked me, she said, have you noticed your sight getting worse over the last year? And I said, well, I'll put it this way. For the first time in my life, I had to buy a large print Bible.
Yes.
So I can't see a normal Bible anymore. Even with glasses, it's hard for me to read. And that's tough when that's your profession.
Which also, by the way, the kids make fun of my screen on my phone. But I increase the font now on my phone. So if you send me a text, I should have disclosed this too when we talked about the paragraph versus the 3-line. In my defense, I probably have the letters so big. It's only like 2 sentences on the screen or something.
Yeah, you can read my text across the room.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah.
And so I went to the eye doctor. I found out I'm still getting old and my eyes are still getting worse. Mm-hmm. But I had an interesting talk. Our eye doctor, Dr. Harper, we'll call her Amy.
Yeah.
We're on first name basis.
Oh. So close.
So close. So Amy was asking about you and the kids and how everybody was doing. And her and her husband have one daughter who's a senior in high school. And so I was asking, I was like, hey, it's February, it's January, I was like, it's about that time. Like, have you picked out a college yet? Mm-hmm. And she was telling me that, some of the colleges her daughter had got accepted to, and almost all of them were out of state. And I was like, what is up with that? Yeah. She's like, I don't know. And she said, she's like, we used to go travel. We love to travel. We've been to all 48 states here, the continental U.S., or however you say it. So she was like, so my daughter was wanting to go to school outside of North Carolina. And she said it bothered her and her husband greatly. Like they felt like maybe they had done something wrong and their only child was running from them. And so Amy brought it up to her daughter one day. I was like, have we done something? Like, why do you want to get, she's like, no, you've shown me this world and I see all this stuff. It's the other side. It's, I want to go someplace because you've taken me places. And I told her about you and that realization with Maria.
Yes, yes.
Maria, we have her for 3 more years at most.
And she tells us all the time she will never live here.
Yeah.
She's and when we say too she's going to live somewhere else, she'll probably spend some time in like Japan or something.
Europe. I mean, she's going to go all over.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you, I was like, well, Beth, you created this monster because you took her to all these various places.
And that
You've
makes
exposed
me
her.
very upset.
I know, and that's what you said. You're like, if I had it to do all over again, I would have never taken her anywhere.
Yes.
I would have taken her to Myrtle Beach every summer like my parents did me.
Well, we didn't go to Myrtle Beach, but that was you. But yeah,
y'all weren't upscale enough to go to Myrtle.
We went to the North Carolina coast in the pop-up camper, but still we didn't go to there. But yeah.
But yes, Amy just died laughing. She said that is exactly what I told my husband.
Yeah.
If I had it to do all over again, I think I would have kept her home. But then we talked about that. We talked about how letting your kids go and how hard that is. And we got 3. So right now we still got 1 in the house, and Josh is going to be here for a while longer. Jacob's not about an hour and a half away from us at college. They got 1 kid, and their kid's looking at Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, they're looking at some states that are away, and how that must feel, to go from having your kid right there with you to all of a sudden gone, and to think, well, I thought I was doing a good thing. But then selfishly as a parent, you feel like you did.
Yeah, a disservice for yourself, because I'm jealous of the people who and I'm sure even, I don't live that far from my parents, but I'm sure even my mom and dad probably feel this way too, because where I'm from, a lot of people live literally so close they can go eat with their parents when we're not that close. I'd get to see them at church and stuff, but I'm sure they felt that way, and now I feel that way. I'm really jealous of the people who's like, oh, my kids live right next door and come over, or, they talk about the things they do, because I'm like, I really, if I pondered it and I'm honest with myself, I probably, I know we're laughing, but I might have done it differently. For selfish reasons. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have. Who knows? You can't go back in time, but it is hard now, and that I think the reason it bothers me is because it hurts and it's painful to let go, especially when letting go. Because one of the struggles I have, we won't get into too much detail, but Maria moved out so soon, and I tried to explain to you, because you were like, kids move out all the time and things, and I'm like, she was 18, and she moved 9 hours away for 8 months and probably would have stayed longer if she could have. And for me, it just was sooner. I thought I would have more time. And I think that's the other thing that's hard. Not only is it hard to let go, but in my mind, I had certain time frames of okay, well, I have them until this point in time, and then I'll be letting go, and maybe I'll be more mentally and emotionally prepared. But then when that time frame's expedited and they're doing it sooner, that's harder to process. And then it's also just hard, I don't know. You want those things for your kids, and you want them to thrive, and you want them to enjoy things, but that doesn't, diminish how it impacts you and how you feel. So then when you come and say, well, Beth, this is what you created, or you did this, it's just stab me in the heart 14 times there, Mike, because, as if it's not hard enough to process. But then you're like, and it's because of you that they're doing this, that just feels bad.
But you've created this wonderful, adventurous young woman.
Yeah.
That's strong and powerful, and she's a force of nature. She's not some
She's a hurricane like me. We're hurricanes she's or not, tornadoes.
You just keep feeding that, though, because just last week or week before last, y'all two took a trip to New York City.
But I feed it now because I've resigned myself. It's too late now, so might as well do that if it also forces her to spend time with me if she's going on a trip with me. So, that makes it better.
But y'all both love it.
Yes. Yeah.
She loves traveling equally as much as you do.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we did a very very fast trip, a short trip, and we had to squeeze it in. Well, a few reasons. For New York, I found that the cheapest time to go is literally, when it's so cold, nobody else wants
after New
wants
Year's.
to be there. Yeah. And we had to fit something in while she was still out of school. And it needed to be a weekend for my work and everything. So anyway, it was this jam-packed, like literally you take off in the plane, you fly there. We were able to find good flights that used for both of us to fly based on a travel voucher she got because she gave up her seat one time on another flight when she was working in Orlando. So we flew up and literally just hit the ground running, and maximized every minute that we had while we were there to squeeze in as much as we could.
And squeeze in. You went up there. You had bought tickets to a Broadway show.
Yes.
Hadestown, I think, which was another reason y'all wanted to go up.
And that was why we had to go
Jordan
when we went.
Fisher, is that his name?
Jordan Fisher.
Some kid guy.
He is the one okay, Maria loves Happily Ever After fireworks show at Magic Kingdom so much. And he sings a part of the song that's in that fireworks show. Is he in any
other movies? Or what's he done?
Yeah, he's been in Disney things and he has music. So he's very well known to that generation. I wouldn't know him if he walked up right now. Well, he's very well known to them, and he's been in Hadestown. And one of the other issues was he may be done now. I don't know. He was nearing the end of his time performing in Hadestown. So if you were going to have that one-time opportunity to see Jordan Fisher, this was going to be it. We were running out of time.
Yeah, so y'all went up there to see this show.
Yes, essentially that was kind of what we planned it around. Yeah.
So then you call me and you're like, hey, we're going to go see a second show before you see that one. And it was...
Well, let me tell you what we even did too, though, before that. Because the other thing we wanted to do, and I don't think she would mind sharing this story, but when we went to New York a few years ago, before she was going to college, the first time she applied to the Arts Conservatory School where she is now, she didn't get accepted. And we were in New York when she found out. And we were supposed to go while in New York to the Museum of the Moving Image because she is a film student. So what better museum is there to go to than that? But she was so devastated, and so was I, that we had no desire to go do anything like that. And that was the last time we were in New York City. So we had a lot of kind of sad memories associated with that.
You needed to purge the bad feelings.
Yes. We needed
the bad mojo that was on that trip.
Yeah, because it was like, it was just devastating because we had put all the eggs in that basket because film school and arts-based schools are very expensive. And we are super blessed in North Carolina because I think UNC School of the Arts is the only publicly funded arts conservatory, perhaps in the nation. And it is very well ranked as far as film schools.
Oh, it's up there with NYU,
it's
USC,
like top 10 in the nation.
It's
amazing.
It would be an Ivy League film school.
Yeah, so when she was, rejected, in some ways, it was devastating for her, but I tried to tell her, I was like, but this would be like if I applied to Harvard and didn't get in the first time. It's like, this is such a good school. But now, of course, you fast forward to a year, and I've done some talks about this too, about how as devastating as that was, like if you think about God's plan for your life, I think we were questioning when we came home from that. And ironically...
This would have been 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. And ironically, as soon as I came home, I talked about last week, the women's retreat that we're having at church on January 25th. We have that every January. As soon as we came home, I had to go in the next day to lead a women's retreat based on hope. And I felt like all of my hope had just been gutted because Maria was crying. I cried. We literally, it's not the end of the world, but like, not only do you feel hurt and rejected, and I'm watching her suffer through those emotions, but also she had not applied to other places. So we were like, we have no alternatives because I'm a person, I think I'm an Enneagram 7, and Enneagram 7s want to have as many options open as possible. She is too, so this surprised me that she didn't have a lot of potential options. She had one option, and that was School of the Arts. But I had to go in, do this thing on hope, and it was probably good that I did that at a time when I felt very little hope. You know, I mean, it just makes you more raw and more authentic in that. But we say all that to say, she then went to Wilmington and was able to do the Disney College program, which had always been a dream of hers. Had she gotten into School of the Arts, because it's an arts conservatory, you have to do the 4 years. There would never have been an opportunity for her to do the Disney College program because they don't offer it in the summer. She would have had to take a semester off. So looking back now, everything that happened, really worked to her good because she got to go to Wilmington for a semester. She met an incredible roommate and family that we love. And she's still, even her roommate, when she moved back to Wilmington, had something, I think a sign that said Maria's room or something that was really sweet. But met this amazing friend base. Then because she was in college and in a college that would allow her to take that time off, when she got accepted to the college program, she was able to do that. And I think she also matured a lot. So by the time she turns around to get into School of the Arts, it's very different. I know that's a very long story, but I just say all that because it was...
That was a lot to say we went to another Broadway show.
Okay. Anyway, back to... We went to the Museum of the Moving Image, and they had a Muppets exhibit. And Maria loves the Muppets, and one of her professors at the School of the Arts did some things, I think, with the Muppets, and they also, he may have done something on one of the other movies that Jim Henson had worked on. I can't remember. But anyway, so that was cool. But then we were like, okay, why don't we just kind of go to Times Square? I'd read online that you can show up at the box office. And I know there's the booth. A lot of people go and wait in line at the booth, the little red ticket booth, to buy discount tickets. But all the shows that Maria wanted to see, she had a list when we were going of 3 that she desperately wanted to see. And that list, they're all the shows that aren't going to be at the discount booth because they're sold out stuff anyway. So we had read that you could show up and just see if there are any tickets. So we did that. So one of the shows she wanted to see was Romeo and Juliet. And I will not get these names right, but there's, what's that guy's name? Something Pip. I don't know. But anybody who looks at December, January 2024, 2025, who's in Romeo and Juliet, it's the main actress who's Juliet is the girl that's going to be in Disney's Snow White, and she was also in other things that I don't remember, but that, again, this age group, they're obsessed with her. And then the guy that's in it too is famous, and so that's why Maria wanted to see that. So we just happened to be there at the box office, and they're like, oh yeah, we've got these first row seat tickets. So we're like, okay, so we'll do that. So that was a spontaneous, unplanned, big surprise that also allowed her to see something she really wanted to see. And it was unlike any version of Romeo and Juliet I've ever seen, or probably anyone else has. And it was a round stage, just a very different experience than I've ever experienced at a show like that before. So yeah, so we did that.
Okay. And then you saw that. Then I think you went to Hades Town the next night, maybe, or something. Then there was a third instance.
Yes. So
then I get another call.
Because Maria said she was, quote, craving Wicked. And she was, quote, craving Wicked because of the movie. And we listened to the soundtrack all of the time. And Mike and Maria sing. Does she tend to be Elphaba and you're, yeah.
She's Glinda.
You're Galinda. Oh, she's
Galinda.
Galinda. Now it's just Glinda. And you're Elphaba when you two sing your duets. But she was, quote, craving it. So again, we were like, well, we could go to the box office and just see if they have any discount tickets And it was like, you think lightning can't strike more than once, but it did. And so we just sat there on the floor, essentially in line for like 45 minutes before the show started. And it was literally like the show was starting at 2. It was a matinee. And I think it was at 2. At 1:50, they're like, okay, we've got these tickets if you want them, because someone had canceled. And we were first in line, so we were able to get those. So we were rushing in like, oh my gosh, we get to go. And I've seen Wicked's my favorite show. We talked about that. But seeing it actually in New York with the stage that it is designed for that is amazing. Yeah, so that was amazing. And then that night, I think, was the night that then we turned right around, ate really quickly, and we already had the tickets to Hadestown.
So you saw 2 in one day?
Yes, and went to that, yeah.
And then the third day, you didn't even call. You just sent me a picture.
Okay, so there's this guy who played in Newsies, and he's probably the hottest actor on Broadway. And he is in...
Hot as far as looks or hot as far as popularity?
Popularity. Like, he is probably... And he's got this amazing voice, very well known in theater circles. Very, very well known. And he was playing Gatsby. And that was the last show that Maria had said she really wanted to see. So we did the same thing. We just showed up in line. We sat there, we waited to see if somebody canceled tickets, if we could get discount tickets, and if we could go to this. And that's what we did. So essentially, yeah, we saw like 4 shows in 3 days, and that was pretty much all we did outside of the museum that was all we had time to do, eat. But we saved some money because we ate really light. Like, we ate bagels.
Y'all didn't have time to eat. So you saw 4 Broadway shows in 3 days.
Yes. But here's how we justified it in our head, too. Okay, number 1, we're getting some discounts and things and not paying the additional fees. But also, if you think about it, if you have to fly up every time and get a hotel, that's a very expensive trip for one show. So we were just compressing all of this together into one weekend. And
it was like, let's not spread the money out over 2 years. Let's just blow it all in 4 days.
But we got good deals. It was a bargain.
It wasn't. I don't even know. I didn't even want to ask how much y'all spent. But I know I told Jacob, I said, when I got that text, Jacob and I were sitting here watching football, the playoffs, NFL playoffs. And I said, Beth and Maria are going to another Broadway show. And Jacob was like, yeah, like, what? And I said, we need to figure out how much money they've spent on Broadway, and you and I need to go to an NFL playoff game. Like, that's what would make it even.
Well, this is my thing, though. Again, we've talked about, and I had this conversation with Maria. I was like, we were able to be spontaneous and do this because we flew for free because she'd given up the seats and stuff. And we've talked about, too, like, our kids, we talked about this at Christmas. We decided that we were doing activities and things more so than a lot of like tangible material gifts. And so it's just choices you make. And, and I know we're very blessed to be able to do this. It's a privilege that we got to do it. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying it's just like we made choices that set us up. And that's what I tried to talk to Maria about just for the future for her with money, because she likes to spend it. And so I was trying to say, if you set aside money so that you have a reserve, then if you have these spontaneous opportunities, and learning too, which she's learning this as well, she would rather start, she's getting to the point now, she used to want a lot of things, but like she's getting to the point now, she would rather have experiences.
And she's proud of that. Like she told me the other day,
yeah,
we're going to go somewhere in New York and she was going to buy something. And I'm like,
oh, do you want to know what it is?
I don't know. We don't even need to talk about it.
It's like a fried stuffed animal. Yes. Like, anyway.
It's the most ridiculous. I never even heard of it.
Yes, where they cook the stuffed animal, but not really in pretend. But anyway, keep going.
It's like the next Build-A-Bear type thing.
Yes, but you can only get the pizza cooked in New York,
Stupid. Yeah. But... And I was just like, really, Maria? And then a few days later, she came down. She's like, all right, Dad, you'll be proud. I've decided I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to save that money, and I'm going to spend it on, and it's doing doing something.
Yes, an experience.
So
yes.
she is learning. She's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't need to have stuff that I'd rather.
Because she has a lot of stuff. She's a collector. She likes to collect a lot of things, and she has a lot of stuff. And so that's
hoarder.
So that's quite the shift, though, for her to make that shift from buying things to, because I do view it almost like I collect experiences. Because Josh has even said to me before, because you collect albums. Josh likes to collect albums. The kids used to collect pop figures, and Josh is like, "What do you collect?" And I'm like, nothing. And he said, why? But the more I think about it, I think I collect experiences.
Well, you collect plants. We've gone over that.
Well, that doesn't, no. Okay. Anyway, I'm not a collector cataloging them. I'm just saying, I think that I collect, and not just trips, but that's part of this Big 12 idea and stuff, just collecting different experiences. That's kind of, I guess, what I would say I collect.
All right.
Yeah.
It was... it's crazy. I feel like I've been all over, and I've never been to New York City.
And I've asked you before because you love the theater and stuff, and so
I don't know what it is. I mean, I would go. I've been through New York City. I mean, but never spent any kind of time there in the city. And I don't know why. It's one of those places that has just never really come up. That or Boston. Those are probably the two big cities left in the country that I haven't spent any time in.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Maybe I'm just don't like the Northeast. I don't know.
You used to tell people, remember you had told my friend Casey one time your truck didn't go north or something. I don't know. I can't remember. You didn't
go past Virginia.
Yeah, that changed a lot. But that was it because you were joking with her about going up to the Northeast to visit. But yeah, it's, yeah, so it was great. It was good time. And I think the thing is, I did think about it should I spend this? But really, again, for me, it comes back to my time with my kids is limited. And so essentially for me, if I have the opportunity to have an experience and spend time with them, I recognize that. And so I'm probably going to choose to do that in most instances, if it's feasible.
By yourself and Maria by herself, you're limited.
Yes, but together we're unlimited. Yes, I feel like I need to sing that now, but I can't
that is
sing.
A wicked callback.
Yes, exactly. Yes, we're unlimited. Anyway.
We don't want to do that. The listeners just turned off.
Yes, they did. They were scared. Yes.
So that's it. That's kind of everything that's been happening in our life, and kind of, but I knew I was going to be talking to you about Maria and y'all's trip. And so it was good timing that I went to the eye doctor today, and me and Dr. Harper had that same talk about
your kids.
Losing her daughter, feeling like she's losing her daughter because her daughter's moving out this fall, to go away to college, and it may be out of state, and that feeling as a parent, we talked about parenting adult children,
and how hard
that is, and knowing when to let go, and
and when to let them make their own mistakes or figure things out versus when to intervene.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was just so it tied in nicely. Everything kind of fell into place as far as wanting to hear about your story, but then also all of a sudden having this spontaneous story today with Dr. Harper about. So we're not alone. Parents aren't alone. We all feel this way.
The other thing that's interesting, so in the retreat that we're doing January 25th, if anyone would like to show up and come, there's lots of information on the Project Read 3 Facebook page. I just shared that again today. But we're talking about the book of Ruth. And it's interesting, too, that you talked about this, because this has really been on my mind, because we're going to explore Naomi, Orpah, and Ruth. And we don't know a lot about Orpah, but she actually makes the decision, unlike Ruth, to leave and return to her own homeland. And, I have a lot of questions, and I think some of the things we're going to ponder when we look at that part of the story as, Naomi told both of them to leave, even though she loved them dearly. And that struggle of sometimes loving someone means you have to let them go. And on the flip side, sometimes people love you and they stay, like Ruth did, but sometimes they're like Orpah, and it's not that they don't love the person, because I think it looks like in the scripture, she definitely loved Naomi, but, her path was going to take her away from her. So sometimes love means too, you may have to leave. But I think it's so hard on our hearts to not just like, Dr. Harper was going to do, where you personalize it. You like, if I'd made this home, appealing enough, or if I made, this life appealing enough, they would want to stay, or why don't they want to stay with me? It's hard not to personalize that and to realize that, I guess that's an interesting thing for me too. I don't know when the book of Ruth would have been written exactly, but how many years ago that story occurred. So this is truly like, a tale that has been happening all throughout time of people sometimes having to leave, and sometimes having to let people go in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot to think about.
It is a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to transition. I was going to wrap it up with comments, but
comment.
Heavy.
No, we need to end on a light note. We want our listeners to be happy, so they'll want to come back.
Well, what we've determined by the comments is people love plants and people love sledding in the snow.
Yes.
So that's it. That's been the biggest thing.
We didn't even get to talk about the snow and how I got to sled.
Yeah, so we'll do plants first. I put up the video that I spoke about last podcast, I actually put up on our Facebook page of, hey, are you still there? And it was funny. I had one person comment that they could verify that those were not illegal plants because they used to grow illegal plants. I'm paraphrasing here, but that was kind of interesting. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people were liking that. A lot of people were putting their pictures of their grow lights. It inspired some others to buy a grow light.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and so I'm just like, that's not what I wanted to do.
This is like my dream.
Trying to discourage.
Do you know what it's made me think
plant
of?
Epidemic.
I thought about it because this has spurred something with people. So you know how people have, they clean out their closet and they do clothing exchanges? I'm thinking we should do like a house plant exchange where people bring in cuttings or small pieces of their plants and we can all like trade them, and that allows us, because that's one of the things that's hard. Like if your plant gets too full and you eventually have to cut pieces off, I don't want to throw that away, but eventually I don't have enough pots and space to keeping the cuttings. And I'm like, we could do like a plant swap. And like, think about the people, if there's that many people, they're getting grow lights. There's got to be an audience.
You may get
for
at least
that.
2 or 3 people there.
Okay.
I know at least one person who will be there. I don't know if the plants, well, maybe 2. I don't know if they'll be legal or illegal, but they'll be there.
Okay.
And then sledding. Beth went sledding with the kids. And again, the whole question was snow or no.
Yeah.
And, still, people can't follow directions. They were like, oh, I like the snow if. And they put out some disclaimers. And but whatever. Some people said they liked the snow when they were young and not now. So, it just kind of varies. And so you went sledding with the kids. We have a golf course through the woods. We don't live on a golf course.
No.
But there's one that's in our town that's like...
We have to get a neighbor's permission to
walk
through their
people's
yard.
yards and woods. But
Go through the woods to get there.
You get out on this golf course, and it just so happens the one that's closest has a massive hill.
Yeah.
And you and Maria and Josh and our neighbor went sledding on that hill for quite a while.
Yes.
And so we put that video up of you sledding down the hill. And so that also can be found on the Hey Are You Still There Facebook page of you sliding down that hill.
But and also I wanted for people who are going to critique my sledding technique, yes, my hands are on the ground in the snow, but we wanted to see, there's like a little bridge that goes across a creek. And so we were intentionally trying to see if we could make it to the bridge. And so there was kind of a path and you had to stay on it. It took a lot of sledding skill. I must say, a lot of like core muscles, moving, trying to maneuver the sled and trying to do my hands to stay in the right grooves of the sled, but made it all the way, not only to the bridge, but partially across the bridge. I felt very accomplished that day. Really proud of myself. Like if there was just general sledding in the Olympics, maybe I would enter that because that's how it felt.
See, I didn't like your form.
I know you didn't.
No, it wasn't. I'm talking about the hands. Like, I was never a sit up on a sled on your butt and go down the sled.
Okay,
I am a stomach.
Okay, we did some of the stomach.
I am the run, jump, boom, hit it, and just slide down on your stomach on the sled.
But this is why I couldn't do that. So the Regal one, my magnificent dog, was really excited. And when we went down on our stomach, he was running beside us, like nipping at us, like, chasing and keeping up. And so it was just too hard to control it with the Regal one doing that. And so I didn't want to upset him. So I decided to sit up. Why are you giving me that look?
I don't, but it looked like you were moving in slow motion.
Okay. Well, if I had known that, I would not have sit.
How did that dog not help? But he wasn't catching up with you there. So I'm just saying.
Because that was at the end when he was tired. I didn't send you any other, videos to critique my form and talk about my speed and how engaged the dog was or was not. But he was running beside us and we were going faster on a number of those. Oh, here we go. Okay.
No, it's all good. Mm-hmm. You went a really long way.
Yes.
It made you very happy.
Yes, it
did.
did.
You were going fast enough the dog couldn't catch up.
Yeah.
So regardless of how you were on your sled, it was working.
It was. And so that was because the goal was not to get there the fastest. The goal was to go the furthest distance. And so sometimes...
It's like the tortoise and the hare.
Or just like I tell people at work, you can have it fast or you can get it right. I can do one or the other. If you want well thought out, researched analysis, we can do it right. I need a little time. Or I can just do it fast and it may not be, as good. So this was about being methodical and thoughtful and accuracy. So if I had gone too fast, I feel like I would have gotten off of the path. Why are you laughing at me? What?
I tell you the same thing.
What?
We can do this fast or I can do it the right way. And that it doesn't matter.
Because I want everything done now. But I mean, that's different. Like when I have a to-do list or whatever for you, it's like I want it done now. So that's like, I'm just saying, that's not apples to apples.
I'm just saying, you want things really quick sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, you got to give me a minute to get this, whatever it is, done. Like, you're like, have you done this yet? Have you done this yet?
Yeah.
Have you done this yet? And I'm like, no, like.
Well, if you just did it the first time I asked, we wouldn't have that problem. I mean, it's like, just go do it then, and then I don't have to follow up.
Well, like you're driving.
As some people would say, nag.
Well, I mean, you'll be riding in your Jeep and be like, you'll call me and be like, hey, the check engine light's on. I'm like, all right, I'll get it fixed. And then you'll come home and be like, did you get it fixed yet? I'm like, you literally have not even seen the Jeep.
Maybe I want you to at least figure out what it might be, though. I've done some preliminary research, done your homework on it. So when you go,
I guess so.
But you've got to tell me too. Did we have any other good comments? And what is the poll question going to be this week?
You decide the poll question this week. What do you think?
That's too much stress. I don't feel like I'm good at witty poll questions and stuff. I feel like that's more you're better at that.
Well, I mean, I like the cavity question. I mean, I like.
No, that's might be. What if that's uncomfortable for people?
Well, then they don't have to answer. It ain't like we're getting thousands of comments on those anyway, the poll questions.
That's a good point.
I mean, let's just face it. We're going to have about 4 people that'll tell us.
But are you asking, if they've had cavities or if they agree with me that the cavities aren't necessarily your fault?
It doesn't matter what I say. They're going to, elaborate in some way. And
yeah.
So let's just say, how old are you? And have you had cavity? Can you beat the 50-year-old?
Oh,
no
that's
cavities?
what. Okay, this is why I don't like this poll question. This seems more about massaging your ego.
It is.
I was like, this is not like a poll
you told
question.
Me to choose.
I know, but this is not a poll question that's about. This is so out of anybody's control, and we already know the answer is going to be.
It's not out of anybody's control.
Okay, well then let's have 2 poll questions.
You brush your teeth every day. You're good.
No. See, that's where I knew. No. Because I think that then this is going to turn into one of those things where, you're going to be the only one, and then you're going to come back.
How about this? We kind of touched on this, but not really, but we kind of did. And maybe we can elaborate more next week, okay? your trip to New York, you were able to do a lot of spontaneous stuff.
Oh.
Because you didn't have anything planned. You went up there and said, we're going to this museum, we're going to this Broadway show, whatever else happens.
Yes.
And so, but I think for some people that would freak them out. Like the idea of going into a place, even like New York City, that can be overwhelming with choices.
And not having an
where
itinerary.
do we start? What do we do? So when you're going on a trip, and this is going to be our poll question.
Yes.
Are you spontaneous or are you a planner? And I don't want to hear sometimes both or it depends. Again, no. You're one or the other. You're either, I'm going to schedule this out and this is what we're going to do each day and this is where we're going. Or you're like, you know what? We're going to show up. We're going to pull up TripAdvisor.
And we're going to go from there.
We're just going to go from there.
Wing it. Yeah.
Where we eat, where we visit.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite trips.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do. I love to do that now. Like, let's just go to a place. Let's just get there. Let's open it up and let's see. And I know there's some things.
I mean, you're going to know the Statue of Liberty's in New York. And if so it's like, there's not like you don't know anything about the place you're going.
There's something that you want to get tickets for. And you know that may not
you're going to do that ahead of time.
You got to plan that ahead. But I think.
But we're talking about, like, are you a person who has to have, like, at 8 a.m., we drive there and then we're going to eat at one of these 3 restaurants and stay here. Like, is it kind of like each day?
Like you could have had this trip so structured that you didn't open up. And we even left out some stuff, some highlight. I mean, let's talk about the fact real quick. I'll just share this and then we'll wrap it up. When Maria went to the window and found out that there was Romeo and Juliet tickets available, she got so excited that the guy working there came back and brought Maria some kind of like autograph.
A signed autograph.
By the people. Yeah. It's like, here, have this.
Yeah.
Gave it to her.
Yeah.
Like but that was a spontaneous, like.
Oh, and I met one of the actors on the street.
You met an actor on the street.
Yes.
And then after
chased him down.
After Hadestown, y'all went and hung out by the stage door, and she got to meet this Jordan dude that she's obsessed with.
Right.
And got his autograph, right? Did she get a picture with him or anything, or just autograph?
Autograph, because it was chaos and madness. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes we can schedule things so much that we not only miss the spontaneous moments, we miss the spontaneous surprises that we didn't even know was an option. Like getting signed to playbills or meeting the actor of your dreams or whatever. Because we're too focused on, we have to be here at a certain time or we have to do this. So all that to say, that's when you travel, could you have done what Beth did and Maria? Could you just show up in New York City and say, let's just see what the city brings over the next 3 days?
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's what we, like, and sometimes I'd ask at the hotel, like, hey, what do you think's good to eat for this? Here's my price range, or a TripAdvisor. But yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah.
But I did chase down one of the people that we saw. So, and Maria didn't get embarrassed because she was excited to meet him. But he had headphones in, so I kept trying to chase him down the sidewalk.
You thought he was deaf.
No, I was like, I noticed I was like, why is he not responding? Is he ignoring me? And I still chased him, even if he was ignoring me.
And I just thought I just had an epiphany.
What?
I really don't like to talk to people when I'm out.
You should wear
I should just wear earbuds.
Yeah, you don't even have to listen to anything, because that's what they do all the time in New York, because that was him. He had his headphones in. He was just zeroed in on where he's going.
Yes.
So I'm like saying things and he can't hear it until I literally run and like kind of dodge in front of him and cut him off.
So when I hear people say, Mike, if I'm out, I'll just keep walking. And
then
like,
they won't be
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. I was listening.
Yeah, they won't be offended.
I was listening to his podcast on Hey, Are You Still There?
Yeah, and it was really loud.
Yeah.
And so, because the sound's so good now.
Maybe.
Yeah, that would be what it would be with no background noise. Yeah. But yeah, do that. Just wear headphones all the time, everywhere you go.
I won't talk to another soul again.
Gosh, that's probably not good.
That's great.
Yeah, that's not good for you. But anyway.
All right. Well, hey. Thanks for listening. As always, you can
and by the way, can we put in that if somebody else has no cavities and they want to join their club,
if you want to join the club, please let me know. It's a very exclusive club, the No Cavity Club.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be like, well, my 8-year-old's never had a cavity.
Right.
Well, big flipping deal. Like, you
want it to be, you've got some
gotta
age on those teeth.
An adult.
Yeah, those teeth have gone through some
They've
sugar.
gone through some stuff.
And like, exactly.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to say if you're 20, I don't even want to hear about it. You know, like, just get some grit, you know?
Yeah.
And what have you been, you know? And so let me know that if you're in that exclusive club. Follow us on the Facebook.
And if you're from one of those places that we have, like one of those countries
or Lancaster,
city,
whoever's in Lancaster.
Yeah, we want to hear. We want to hear from you for sure.
Yeah.
And if you want to sponsor us too and give us money and stuff, like that, we'll take that.
And I like having the people comment. I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's fun because I'm like, oh, okay,
you're like, who is this person?
Why are
it's
they
kind of
listening?
cool. Yeah,
How bored are they?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it.
Okay, now I'm not going to interrupt you anymore.
Well, I think I'm done.
Oh, okay. But I kept interrupting and adding things.
Well, I mean, that's your life.
Yes, it is. Anyway, it's one of my skills.
Well,
it's
you're
my
very
gift.
skilled at it.
Yes.
So we're just over an hour, Beth.
Good. Okay. We did
Is that
it.
good? Originally, I was like, let's try to keep it around 30, 40 minutes. And we've never hit that.
Okay, well, why don't we try to go under 60 minutes? Unless the listeners say they don't mind. That could be a poll question in the
most
future.
turn us off in the first 30 seconds. If there's anybody listening, I should start saying a magic word at the end.
Yes, and then you have to comment.
And they'll be like, oh, I listened. Well, what was
the
magic
word? Yeah, like they do when they try to see if you join a group, if you've read the rules and there's a hidden word in it. Yeah, we'll start doing that.
Yeah.
To see if people really listen or if they just say that.
Okay. All right. So the magic word this week is roses.
Oh.
Roses.
Yes,
so if you say I listen to the podcast, just say I listen to the podcast. Roses.
Roses.
And then I'll know.
Yes.
All right.
But not in the store, the flower.
I mean, store. What if
store
you got
or could be.
the flower in the store?
That's true. Yeah.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, that's it for us. Till next time.
See you next time.